Welcome to the One DFS Breakdown with Jon B. It is 11/11/2021. Not sure what to say about yesterday's slate. 13 crazy games. So I'm not going to say much about it other than I didn't do well. Didn't have those minute pieces, the value picks pieces that ended up showing out I didn't have. Or I didn't have enough of in the right combination. So that's okay. That's part of the game. That's part of what we do. You're not going to win every day. Right now, I think this live stream says 11:04, but I'm going to change that, once the video is over. So just bear with me. But it's okay. So today, really quick and easy 3-gamer. We're going to bust through it. It's going to take like 20 minutes. There's not going to be a whole heck of a lot to talk about. And it's going to be fine. And I feel good about it, and I hope you guys feel good about it. Hit the subscribe and like buttons if you will. I would appreciate that. I'm going to see if I can change the name on this before it's even done. Let's see what it says here. So, hang out for a second, you guys. Let's see, edit. There we go. I can change the date. 11. We're going to make this quick. I got to run to the store and get some things. I got to come back. We're having a birthday celebration for my son tonight, so that's going to be sweet. Yeah, there. It should say 11/11 now. Hopefully. I'll refresh that. But, yeah, it's going to be good. Going to make some food. Going to have some presents. Going to hang out a bit. Maybe watch some of this basketball. I don't know. We'll see. It's cold and rainy in Minnesota today, and that is fine, because that is how life goes this time of year in Minnesota. I'm looking at 3 screens, so keep in mind that's why my head keeps going like this, because I've got a ton of stuff happening here. We're going to start, I think, and let me push you up into the corner here so you don't have to look at my ugly mug the whole time. Oops, where did I go? Uh-oh. I don't know what the heck is happening now. Now that won't even work. Okay. I'll pull it down and see what happens. I don't know what the heck is happening. Why am I not moving? Anybody have any slick answers as to why this isn't working? Maybe that's it. Man, it is weird. Not happy. There we go. I think that's right. So you guys can see my face. I hope I'm not zooming in and out too crazily. I'm going to try to zoom my face now up into the corner. I think I got it. Let me move this like that. Why is my screen upside down, you guys? Does anybody know what's actually happening here? You guys are seeing my screen upside down. I have no freaking idea why. Of course, leave it to this to happen when I need this to be like a 20-minute show. Okay, hang with me. Well, that looks right. How come this is upside down? Is there a way to make it not upside down? Come on. I know it's probably something just ridiculous. Okay, I'm in it. Now it's backwards. Is that it? No. There. Okay, hang on. Oh, you guys, I'm telling you, sometimes I don't have any idea why things do that they do. That looks correct. I'm going to put my arms up and just go, yes, I did it. So, for freaking ridiculous, though. I promise that was totally ridiculous. Okay, I'll pull myself like that. I don't know. I hope that you can see that. I don't know what's going on today. Apparently, too much stuff. No idea. Let's try to break through it. Toronto at Philly. Looks like the Vegas odds on this thing are 210.5. I mean, that's the total. So, I'm going to get rid of looking at myself. Go to the injury report. We're going to start with Toronto because they're first on the list. Siakam questionable, even though he's just been coming back. The Raptors are just being cautious at the second leg of a back-to-back. We'll basically see a similar rotation to the one Toronto opened with. So no Siakam, probably. Looks like the starting lineup as of right now is Van Vliet, Gary Trent, Anunoby, Scotty Barnes, and Precious. So there's going to be some plays in there that you're going to have to get to, and there's no question about that. Okay, let's go to game. Let's get the right game up here. Man, I was hoping to be done quickly with this. Not that I don't want to do it. It's just that I got other stuff to do in the next, 2 hours. Tons of stuff. All right, so Fred Van Vliet, 8,100. I mean, he's going to play 38.5 or 38.8 minutes per game on 38.6 fantasy points. A straight 1 fantasy point per minute guy. Not the value that you're looking for necessarily. Anunoby, 7,600. I like him. Might have to get to him tonight. 37 minutes, 0.97, 4.7x value. I mean, he's cheaper than Van Vliet, and he puts out about the same numbers. His ceiling is there, too. Similar ceilings on those guys. I like Scotty Barnes at 6,800, 34.8 minutes. Basically a 0.1 fantasy point per minute. This is the only guy on the team that's hitting value at 5x value as a baseline, so go ahead and get to some Scotty Barnes. Gary Trent, it's up and down. I'm not a big Gary Trent junior guy, but it is what it is. 33 minutes, 0.85 is not inspiring. Precious hasn't done it since the first game. 0.95, but doesn't get the minutes. Maybe he gets a few extra minutes today, so you can keep your eye on that. Chris Boucher is a wash. Nobody else on the team to even talk about. So get yourself some. For me, I'm going to get a little Anunoby, a little Scotty Barnes. That's going to be it. I mean, if you think Kem Birch might play a little, and this is going to be a good matchup for him, which I don't think is going to be good, then you can get to Kem a little bit. But other than that, that's it for Toronto. Nothing to talk about. Philly's going to be the crazy one, I think. Yeah, I'm seeing 6 people on the injury report. So let's change teams and go look. Got to get this mic out of the way sometimes. Okay. Injury report. Seth Curry listed as questionable. I don't know whether he'll play or not. He didn't the other day, I think. Sat out Tuesday's game. Shake Milton to return, and we'd expect that to continue on Thursday if Curry's out again. Check back. So Curry may or may not play. Right now he's listed in the starting lineup, but with a Q tag. The big news here for Philly is going to be the return of Tobias Harris. So that's going to be a big deal. You're going to have to get to some Tobias Harris, and that's okay. Embiid out, Drummond out, Simmons out. Harris coming back at 1.12 fantasy points per minute. He may be limited on minutes or energy if he just had COVID. So, but almost averaging 5x value. He's got the highest value on the team, 4.98. So, 36.88 fantasy points per game is, you're going to have to get to Toby. Now, does he play 33 minutes first game back? I don't know. That's kind of the rub. You don't know. And so will he be on a minutes restriction? Will he play 20 minutes? Will he be too tired? Will he just be dragging out there? I really don't know. So if you want to get to him, do it. It's going to, a lot of people are. I'll get to some too. Maxey, same thing. 30 fantasy points per game. 0.85 doesn't do it for me, but he did show out last time. Now with Harris back, his usage will be less. So that's something to consider. I'm going to go right back to a little Furkan Korkmaz out of the starting lineup, but I'm going to get a little bit of him anyway just because he's likely to play north of 25 minutes. That's something to think about. Keep your eye on the Curry news. Andre Drummond is the real play here. 1.4 fantasy points per minute is just ludicrous. 20.9 minutes, but that doesn't have his starting information. So it is what it is. So that number's coming up since Embiid's on, and it'll continue to go up. So Drummond's going to be chalky chalk, and you're going to end up having to play a huge percentage of him. That's all there is to it. So get to some Drummond for sure. Feel free to play a little Milton, a little Maxey, a little Korkmaz. Keep your eye on the Seth Curry news, because if they go out, those other 3 guys, Shake Milton and Maxey specifically, are really going to look good. Now, Niang might take a hit. just because Tobias Harris is back. But look at him as still a potential option if he gets 25 or 26 minutes, just because Tobias might not be ready to play 30-plus minutes. So a lot to look at there. Keep your eye on the news. And we'll go from there. Done with this game. Let's go to the next one and get through these, you guys. Next game. Indiana at Utah. 215.5 total on that bad boy. Indiana at Utah sounds like a defensive sort of boring mess. That's just me, though. I don't know. I like good defense, but come on. Well, I like to see shots go through hoops, too. That's why we kind of watch this game. So, Indiana, Karis LeVert listed as questionable. I think he's out. It says LeVert will sit. So Justin Holiday probably with a spot start, it says. I expect to see Brogdon have an even higher usage level. I mean, so you're going to have to get to some Brogdon. Starting lineup listed here as Brogdon, Holiday, Duarte, Sabonis, and Turner. You could, I mean, if they weren't playing Utah, you could play all 5 of those guys tonight. Against Utah, probably not. But not with a 215.5 total is not as bad as you think. But I think it might even be a little inflated. Sabonis, I love his price tag at 8,800, 1.11 fantasy points per minute. I'm going to get to some Sabonis for sure. I'm going to get to Brogdon before I get to Sabonis because Brogdon's cheaper. They play the exact same minutes, about 1.17 fantasy points on 5.39x value. You got to get Brogdon. I'm going to have a ton of him. Even against Utah. Yep. Same with Miles Turner. I'll probably have a low percentage of Turner tonight, but he's really paid off for me this season. 1.28 fantasy points per minute. You can't complain about that with his price at 7,400. He's likely to get 30-plus minutes. Karis LeVert out. McConnell. Duarte's 34 minutes is pretty good, but 0.74 is a little less inspiring. So that's going to be kind of a play at your own risk. Justin Holiday's 0.53 does nothing for me. That being said, you might still have to get 5% of him or something. I dread that. I don't think I'm going to. I think I'm going to buck that. I'm going to play a little Sabonis. I'm going to play a little Turner, but I'm going to play a ton of Malcolm Brogdon. And that's it. That's it for Indiana. That's all I'm going to do. Let's go look at Utah, who I will probably play more of. And then we'll take a look at their injury report, too. Utah's injuries look like just Rudy Gay still. So there was somebody else on there for a while, but nothing to worry about now. Starting lineup, Conley, Donovan Mitchell, Bojan. That's right, Bojan. Royce O'Neal, Rudy Gobert. You got to like Gobert at 1.36 fantasy points per minute. There's literally nobody on this team averaging 5x value or better, which as the season goes, those guys are going to become less and less there. You'll be in the you'll be looking for 4x value by All-Star break for sure. But the closer you get to 5x value as a baseline, then that means you have a much better chance of getting a 6 or 7x value in the contest. So I wouldn't worry too much about value as the season goes until it gets to the point where there is still 2 or 3 guys that are getting their value every single night. Prices are going to dictate that too. As the season goes, these prices are going to go up. A $10,000 Rudy Gobert is not going to be 8,900 the whole season. 1.36 fantasy points per minute. Donovan Mitchell, 8,600, 40.89 fantasy, 1.25 fantasy points per minute. So those 2 guys at those prices, you're going to have to get to a bunch of. Mike Conley, he's got the ability, man. He's a fantasy point per minute guy. If you hope for a few more minutes, but 6,400 is pretty good considering that Conley has a high ceiling. Bogdanovich is 0.81. Royce O'Neal's 0.73. Those 2 things do nothing for me. If you think Clarkson can scoot in and get a few extra minutes, as far as a bench player goes, I like his ceiling because he's playing against guys that aren't as good as him. Because he could start on most teams, I think, or a lot of teams. So that's it for Utah. Rudy Gobert, Donovan Mitchell, Mike Conley. Get those guys. If you want to sneak in a little Royce, you can. Even though I have a hard time in this game doing that. So hang with me. You got to get rid of yesterday's pool. It was freaking massive, and it still didn't do me a darn bit of good. We'll get the pool figured out later. Okay. I think one more game. We're just busting through Miami at LA. I think we and it's Clippers too, right? So, not Lakers. Right there. Let's start with Clips. Paul George is the most expensive pay-up option on the slate tonight at 10,300, but it's for a reason, averaging 49 fantasy points per game, 1.4 fantasy points per minute. You're going to have to play him. I mean, there's going to be so much overlay or overlap on this on the lineups, whatever you want to call it. You're going to need to get to some Paul George because sort of everybody else is. especially in cash lineups. Showing Ibaka sideline day to day. He just came back. I don't know what happened to him. Oh, they just sent him down to get some reps in the G League, it looks like. I don't know if he'll be back for game or not. Starting lineups for the Clips: Reggie Jackson, Eric Bledsoe, Paul George, Batum, and Zubats. So you're going to need a bunch of Paul George. You can get to Reggie Jackson. I mean, he's getting 35 plus minutes at $6,300. 0.82 per minute is not really jumping out at me, especially against Miami. This 28.9 is likely to be like 26. Batum has been playing much better. It's probably the best season of his career so far, in my opinion. I mean, just looking at just how overpaid he was and how crappy he was on some of these other teams. 0.97 fantasy points per minute. It's really getting there. And at 6,100, you may have to start looking at Batum. I hate to say that because Batum is not my guy. I've never liked him. I always thought he was overpaid. I always thought he was overrated. But he's shooting the lights out this season for reals. That's right. I said for reals. And I know that's totally ridiculous. But you're going to have to get some Batum, and I hate it. That just is what it is. Zubats, I'm not a fan of. Not yet. 23 minutes isn't enough to worry about his 0.96. Terrence Mann I like, but his usage is not where it would need to be in order to be productive. 0.79. Will he have a good night here and there? Certainly. Does it happen often? Certainly not. I like Bledsoe. At $4,900, this guy has a ceiling, and you know what it is. 0.92 fantasy points per minute. Averaging 5x value right now. You're going to need a little bit of Eric Bledsoe in this game. Depending. I mean, this matchup is tough because they're playing Miami, and if I'm, and part of this is going to depend on injuries too, because Miami actually has a ton of injuries. So, that could be interesting actually for value plays. So let's look at Miami real quick. The total on this game was 211.5. So there's not any inspiring like high point games tonight where you're like, oh, I got to get 6 players from that game or anything, because these teams are just not that. What am I doing here? I'm trying to figure out what I'm doing. Okay, Miami. So the news is that Jimmy Butler is out. Ruled out. So Jimmy Butler ruled out Tyler Hero with a Q tag, although he's not listed on the injury report. He's just still listed with a Q tag. So as things go, we'll have to pay more attention to that. Bam Adebayo also listed with a Q tag, although he's not showing on the injury report that I'm looking at. But he is listed with the Q tag in the starting lineup. So I'm just going to refresh some news here and just see if I see anything that needs to be addressed. I know it's not quite time. Seth Curry listed as questionable. Tobias Harris will return. Jimmy Butler is out. Man, this song is killing me. Siakam out. Oh, Kem Birch is out too, so I forget I said anything about that. Let's see. Yep, nothing crazy jumping out. It's still, I think, a little too early to be getting super specific on that. You're gonna have to keep your eye on Miami, you guys. Get to some Kyle Lowry. I imagine his usage will go up if Hero enters a starting lineup. I actually think that hurts him a bit, but I'm still going to get to him because I think he's kind of a starter that plays against bench players. So I think that's why his numbers are at least slightly inflated because he's not as good as a starter as people think. But get to Kyle Lowry. Hero if he's in. Bam if he's in. Especially against Zubats. And that's it. That's it. That's all you can do. If they're out, I mean, you're going to have to go down the list. Will Duncan Robinson show up and provide more than 0.68? I don't know. Will PJ Tucker ever do anything that's more than 0.58? Does Dwayne Dedmon play? 0.99 guy, but 14 minutes a game is worthless. Just going down the list. Maybe Caleb Martin. I don't know. I have no idea. Markieff Morris, yeah. I mean, my system isn't set up to predict those things yet. So, in my opinion, I mean, you're going to have to play a ton of Kyle Lowry. Hero if he's in. Bam if he's in. If he's not in, I don't know what to tell you. I wish I had some better information than that, but you're going to have to look at this injury report the closer we get to lock. It just is what it is. Those decisions will have to be made in the final, I don't know, 40 minutes or less. So we're just not there yet. We're just not there yet. So, yeah, I think, you guys, I think that is all I have for you today. Coming back into play here. Yeah, so I mean, it's good to come to you guys. I love doing it. I know there's been a few little snafus. We got them worked out, and that's okay. This is just one of those days. 3 games, tons of stuff going on. Running out of time. I gotta go cook now. I gotta make some desserts and cook, and actually gotta go to the store. I got so much stuff happening, and it has to be done. So. But we got through 3 games relatively quickly. Hit the like, hit the subscribe button. You know, the more I have, I guess, the better. For whatever reason, I'm going to do this anyway, just because I do it anyway for my lineups. So that is what it is. I love hanging out with you guys. Other than that, have a good day. Win some money. Let me know if you do. Hit me up on Twitter. It's Jon B One DFS. That's what it is. At JONBONE DFS. That's John Bone DFS. Or Jon B One DFS is really what it is. So we appreciate you coming to us for the One DFS breakdown with Jon B. I'll be back tomorrow. I haven't looked to see how many games there are. It's going to be more than 3, I believe. We'll spend a little more time. I'll get it done a little earlier in the day. And it being Friday, that should be fun. So hang out, watch some basketball, win some money. That's all. Have a good night, you guys.